Starting to see the breeze pick up a little bit, and I have an Eddyline Sitka ST, and all of the Sitka series from Eddyline, the Fathom, the Equinox, they all have adjustable sliding seats. And in the sales floor you might see like that's going to help you fit your body in the boat, but it's also a really neat tool to use to affect how the wind interplays with our boat. And right now I have the Sitka kind of balanced out here with its end exposed, the stern open, because the Sitka series and the Fathom also have a helpful tool called the Retractable Skeg. So when I pull that lever back, that deploys a firm in place fin, and we can also go like halfway down, quarter way down. And so these two tools are like really wonderful things to use for adjusting how your boat is being affected by wind. And right now, wind is coming right at Nick, and on the other side of this bush is a little bit breezier. So as I have this boat positioned here, and let's say that you are sitting right in the dead center of where this boat's balance is, right out there and there. It's kind of dead center. I like to say like between the rivets, kind of, or at least at this rivet, the back of the seat being. So we might even be just a slight bit forward. We can come back just a little bit. Let's say that's in the middle. And the breeze is coming at us right now, and we are paddling this boat across the breeze in the direction that we have it. What's going to happen is the harder and faster we paddle, we build up a bow wake. We've all seen that. And I kind of think of like the bow wake as like something that's putting your bow of your boat in a headlock as you're creating that wake around the bow of your boat cutting through the water. And so what the weather ends up seeing is that your bow is getting held tighter and tighter and tighter. And what that means is that the wind is now going to push your stern toward Nick filming and push my bow into the wind like this. And that can happen, especially the faster you're going and the windier it is, and that's called weathercocking. Most Eddyline designs have our seat back of center, so that actually under movement you are at kind of the balance point. So you're affected equally on both bow and stern by the wind. That's one thing you'll notice, especially if you pick up the boat, you'll notice the balance point is here, but the paddler is set just a little bit back. But we also have mechanical aids. So we can drop this skeg down all the way. So now my skeg is in the water, and that almost acts as like somebody doing the headlock in the back of the boat now and holding the stern in place. So now the stern is so held in place that that crosswind coming toward the camera starts pushing the bow downwind. So you can see the effectiveness of a skeg for helping your bow turn downwind for downwind travel or quarter downwind travel. And what you can do in your boat is you can find a sweet spot. I may only be halfway down, and that allows me to go crossways to the wind without doing a lot of correctional strokes. So we have the skeg as a tool, but let's say I know all day long I'm going into a headwind, and I want to try to help my boat keep a straight track on the headwind. What I might do is start my day with my seat slid a little bit forward. And what that does is just drops the bow ever so slightly. I like to think about it kind of like, I don't know, dropping my hat going into a headwind. I might do this, and just so that the headwind doesn't push my hat around, I can pull it down. And that's kind of what we're doing by sliding the seat forward, is we're just starting to put that weight down a little bit. So for going into a straight headwind, now my bow's down, it doesn't have as much of a tendency to be blown off course. And for going downwind, remember again, for going downwind, we want to lighten the weight of my bow a little bit. So by going back, that pulls my bow up, and the wind will end up pushing the bow for downwind travel. So you have these two mechanisms, and really become important the longer your boat is, the more freeboard you have exposed to the wind, longer touring boats that don't have rudders. These are the tools that you can use to adjust your course in the weather. And the neatest thing about it is it's going to save you from doing a bunch of sweep strokes or fighting to try to redirect your boat. So if you can kind of learn to paddle essentially smart, it'll save you a lot of work in the long run.
All right, here I am. Nick's filming from up on an island, so hopefully you can see. I'm going cross to the wind, but my bow is oriented up. There, I drop the skeg, and just the second I do that, there's enough stern hold that you'll notice my bow with every stroke starts turning downwind a little bit further. I was going into the wind, and now I'm actually traveling slightly downwind. Skeg back up, and immediately you saw when I put that skeg up, the stern actually started to slide out downwind. And now I kind of weathercocked into the wind. I'm turning the boat here just so Nick can see it crosswind, and there's no skeg deployed right now, so I'm in a pretty well-balanced craft to begin with. And I can cruise along like this. I just might have to do a few more correctional strokes, especially if I wanted to go downwind. But instead, I can drop the skeg. Now the skeg is deployed and down, and watch how my bow, with each stroke, just starts turning a little bit further downwind. What's going on is that stern is being held in place by the skeg, meaning that my bow is more susceptible to being moved by the wind. And now I'm pretty much going downwind, or at least quarter downwind. I'm going to bring the boat around basically just to come back toward Nick, and I probably should have lifted the skeg right there. I mean, I definitely should have. I'm trying to turn the boat, and I have a fin down. So I think I get my head together right here and raise the skeg, and now one big sweep stroke with a little lean, and the boat really turns quickly. Especially, you can't see very well, but I'm leaning forward a little bit right there. That actually loosens the stern, which makes it even more willing to slide out by the wind. Now the skeg is back down, and the second I put that skeg, you could actually saw the stern just take a little, or the bow rather, take just a quick little downwind turn. Now I'm just going to muscle the boat around. I think I'm talking to Nick here. And, you know, playing around with this leaning forward here just to help myself turn into the wind. I'm leaning forward slightly. That just lifts the bow or the stern up a little bit and lets the stern slide out. A little bit exaggerated, but it kind of makes the point. Now I'm leaning back and seeing if by leaning back, does my bow turn downwind a little bit? And it does. So you're seeing that just my body weight in itself is enough to kind of change how the wind is affecting. Now I'm back to sitting upright and just kind of going crosswind here. But watch as I start accelerating. I put the skeg up, and now with just a little bit of movement, my bow starts to get held, and look at how quickly that stern slides out. The faster I go, my bow gets held down a little bit further, and it brings it around. So this is an important point. If you want to go into the wind, do not deploy your skeg because you want your stern to slide out. Now I've put my skeg back down and just paddling with a forward stroke, and with each stroke my bow starts to turn downwind because that skeg holds the stern in place. It takes a while for you to totally understand this, but if you go out and just play with it, you should be able to get a good feel. What a pretty day we had on the water there. That's like right out of a silhouetted poster shot. All right, skeg's back up. Take a couple strokes, and it's a lot easier. See how quickly that stern slid out. That would not be able to make that move if I had my skeg down. So I'm just doing a sweep stroke, finishing it at the stern, and now I'm going to start paddling along, forward stroking. All right, now we're paddling along, forward stroking. And you can see that I'm starting to slowly turn back into the wind again. Right there, I put my skeg down, and just instantly, look at the bow come toward the camera now, just like that, with each stroke. So for downwind travel or quarter downwind travel, having that skeg down really helps up. Skeg back up, and you see how quickly that stern was able to now swing around. And of course, I'm doing a little bit of a turn here as well.
Filming. All right, boss man. I see it. It's recording. It's even counting me down time.
Okay, we did this video, and hopefully it doesn't make the viewers too uncomfortable or sick. But I did this video because it's really easy to see from this point of view what an adjustment on your skeg. So right now I do not have the skeg down, and keep an eye on the background there, and I'm slowly turning into the wind. Skeg is down right there, and just watch. Now Nick has a skeg-free design, so watch how quickly my bow goes downwind. My bow is already starting to turn downwind while and away from Nick, off to the left, which is downwind, just because I put that skeg down. All right, now the skeg is back up, and just watch my stern immediately starts sliding out downwind, and my bow starts turning, and now Nick has to fight to go upwind with me because he is in a skeg and rudder free boat right there. So now you can see I've got that large mountain off in the distance closer to me, but I put the skeg down right there, and just watch how quickly, skeg down, and watch my bow's overall direction now. I'm starting to go off to the left. So when I put that skeg down, the wind pushes my bow downwind. Skeg back up. Oh, right now I'm halfway. So right now I put my skeg kind of halfway down, halfway up. And that is perfect for kind of doing this like across the wind travel. And you can really fine tune it so that you don't have to mess around with your stern. So I'm making a hand signal right there that I'm kind of halfway down, halfway up. And that allows us, like if we were trying to get off to that peninsula point off to the right, for me to keep that angle without having to constantly correct. The last thing I'll say is that when you're loading all of your gear into your kayak, you want to make sure that your boat is balanced right over the center of the seat with all of your gear in it.